Hi there, I'm Jen, this is Remembered Reads, and this is going to be a book haul for this past week and a half or so. Primarily a library book haul, but with a few other things. Starting with the non-library books. I picked up one new release, and that was What Did You Eat Yesterday, Volume 12, which is the latest translation of Fumi Yoshinaga's cuisine manga series, which I have talked about many times. There was one book that I picked up on my trip, and that is Dood van een soldaat, or Death of a Soldier, although I don't believe this has been translated. It is a thriller set in 1919, and I believe is about the death of a First World War veteran. And the other three books that I picked up, my local comic book store was having a buy two get one free trade sale, so I picked up volumes 2, 3, and 4 of Fatale. I talked about volume 1 during March Mystery Madness, and I'd been meaning to pick up some more in the series because I was really impressed with the first one, and I just hadn't gotten around to it, but now I'll have a chance to read those. And now we're on to the library books. So first off, I have We Can Be Alright by Jeff Chang. This is, I think, a follow-up to his book Who We Be, and the subheading here is Notes on Race and Resegregation. And this, I believe, is a short little collection of essays that he's written regarding race relations within the United States in the past couple of years. Next up is another piece of nonfiction. This is Patient HM. The subtitle here is A Story of Memory, Madness, and Family Secrets. I think this is partially a history of psychosurgery and lobotomies, and partially a review of what happened to this particular patient who had brain surgery in an early attempt to cure seizures, which, rather than curing his seizures, gave him the form of amnesia where he couldn't create new memories, which is, I think, one of those forms of amnesia that is the subject of a lot of movies, from everything from like Dory from Finding Nemo to the main character in Memento, to sort of comedies like 50 First Dates, the character in Winter Sleepers with that. But I think it'll be interesting to read more about that, what that actually means, as opposed to kind of a, what it symbolically gets used for in fiction. Next up is The Noise of Time by Julian Barnes, which is a short little book which is about Shostakovich. I saw Jess from Garden Scriptorium talking about this the other day, so I went and put it on hold at the library, and I think this is the fastest one of my holds has come in because it was here already. There was a period, I don't know, about 10 years ago on CBC Radio. They played Shostakovich's Jazz Waltz at least once a month at sort of 5:45 in the morning, which is when I used to wake up. I have a fond memory of always hearing that once a month when they played that. Next up is The King of Attolia. This is the third book in a trilogy. As I recall, it's a high fantasy where the queen marries a thief. I have not read the first book in this. The second I have here and read a couple of years ago, and I was pleasantly surprised by that one, so I don't know why it took me this long to pick up the sequel, but as we have there. Next up is Madeleine Thien's Do Not Say We Have Nothing, which was on a bunch of the prize lists last year. I have quite a few of her books. She tends to write a lot of the kind of Canadian immigrant family stories that are always favorites of mine, so I've been looking forward to this one. And then another book that I was surprised came in so early. This is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, which just came out, and I think I had been 8th in line for this, but I guess maybe maybe the library ordered 8 copies of this because I have it already. I wasn't as huge a fan of... For me, it was hard to separate out what I thought about the text itself from the narration, because I did listen to the audiobook of that, and the narrator had a very distinct style, which I found really engaging, and I was listening to that while I was walking the dog, and there were a few times where I took the dog on a couple of extra blocks walking because I wanted to listen to more of it. But it's hard for me to separate those two things out, so I'll be interested to read this as opposed to having it read to me. And then finally, I have Injustice Gods Among Us Year 2, the complete collection, and then Year 4, Volumes 1 and 2. I have talked about Year 3 of Injustice Gods Among Us before. This is an alternative take on the DC universe. It uses the Injustice video game universe. My feeling about this has always been that it's very crossovery, which is not my thing, but I have really liked the art and the color styles that have been used in the ones that I've read. So I wanted to read more of them. So that's it. This has ended up being another week where all of my library holds came in at once, some of which was because the libraries were closed due to Hurricane Harvey, so there was a bit of build-up from that. Should be a good couple of weeks of reading. That's it for now. Ciao.